Today we're going to explore the intriguing figure of Azazyel, one of the most enigmatic and controversial fallen angels in the Judeo-Christian tradition. Get ready to dive into a world of myth and mystery, where the line between the divine and the profane becomes blurred. Azazyel is mentioned in apocryphal texts and is known for his rebellion against God by descending to earth and getting involved with human women, teaching them forbidden arts and magical practices. His story is full of symbolism and meaning, offering deep insights into the nature of evil and temptation. In this video, we'll explore 7 intriguing pieces of information about Azazyel, from the origin of his name to his punishment and his role in the corruption of humanity. We'll examine how he is portrayed in different religious traditions and what his actions represent in terms of morality and spirituality. Get ready for a journey of discovery and reflection as we unravel the secrets of Azazyel and his influence on religious narrative. Are you ready to dive into the mystery of the fallen angels and discover what the story of Azazyel can teach us about the nature of good and evil? Then let's get started. The origin of the name Azazyel is shrouded in intriguing meanings and symbolism, reflecting the complex and mysterious nature of this fallen angel. The etymology of the name suggests an association with the idea of fortitude or divine strength, which is rather ironic considering his fall from divine grace. In the Book of Enoch, an apocryphal text that expands on the biblical narrative, Azazyel is mentioned as one of the leaders of the Nephilim, who are described as the children resulting from the forbidden union between fallen angels and human women. Azazyel's story brings us to one of the most controversial and enigmatic themes in religious mythology, the descent of fallen angels with humans, giving rise to a race of hybrid beings, the Nephilim. These beings are often associated with an era of great corruption and evil on earth, which eventually leads to the flood, as recorded in the Bible. Azazyel's leadership among the Nephilim suggests his influence and power among the fallen angels, as well as his ability to corrupt and divert humans from the path of righteousness. His story serves as a powerful reminder of the temptations and dangers that can arise when heavenly beings cross the boundaries set by God. The idea of fallen angels interacting with humans and producing hybrid offspring challenges many of the traditional conceptions about the nature of angels and their relationship with human beings. It raises complex questions about morality, the nature of evil, and the role of angels in the divine order. Azazyel's rebellion is one of the most intriguing and controversial episodes in the mythology of the fallen angels. According to apocryphal accounts, Azazyel was one of the angels who rebelled against God by descending to earth and becoming involved with human women. This rebellion is often associated with the corruption of humanity and the rise of the Nephilim, a race of hybrid beings resulting from the union between fallen angels and human women. Azazyel's story reveals the temptation that the fallen angels faced when they became involved in earthly affairs. Their decision to descend to earth and enter into relationships with human women is seen as a serious transgression of the boundaries set by God. By teaching them forbidden arts and magical practices, Azazyel corrupted human knowledge and led people astray from the path of righteousness. Azazyel's rebellion also raises questions about the nature of evil and freedom of choice. He and other fallen angels had the free will to choose between obeying God or following their own path, and their decision to rebel had devastating consequences for themselves and for humanity. Azazyel's story serves as a powerful reminder of the dangers of arrogance and disobedience. His fall from divine grace and his punishment exemplify the consequences of turning away from God's will and following a path of rebellion and corruption. The story of Azazyel is a parable about the importance of obedience to God and vigilance against evil temptations. It reminds us that freedom of choice comes with responsibilities and that we must always seek to follow the path of righteousness and virtue, even when faced with life's temptations and challenges. Azazyel's punishment is a crucial aspect of his story and represents a significant part of the narrative of the fallen angels. According to tradition, after his rebellion and corruption of humanity, Azazyel was condemned for his actions and received a severe punishment. He was chained in the desert of Dudiel, a place often associated with the abode of demons and evil beings, where he will remain until Judgment Day. The image of Azazyel chained in the desert evokes a sense of isolation and desolation, symbolizing his separation from God and the heavenly community. His punishment serves as a powerful reminder of the consequences of disobedience and rebellion against God's will. It also reflects God's justice and power in dealing with those who oppose him. The idea that Azazyel will be thrown into eternal fire on Judgment Day adds an element of suspense and inevitability to his story. It suggests that, despite his temporary punishment in the desert, his ultimate fate will be eternal damnation. This perspective underscores the seriousness of angelic rebellion and the gravity of the consequences for those who turn away from God. Azazyel's punishment also highlights the nature of divine justice and the importance of individual responsibility. He was not only punished for his own actions, but also for influencing the fall of other beings. This suggests that, just as fallen angels are responsible for their choices, human beings are also responsible for their actions and must be accountable to God. Azazyel's punishment is a powerful reminder of the importance of obedience and reverence for God. It reminds us that our choices have consequences and that we should always seek to follow the path of righteousness and virtue, avoiding the temptations of evil. Azazyel's story invites us to reflect on our own choices and to seek redemption and reconciliation with God. Azazyel's association with the corruption of humanity is a central aspect of his story and has been the subject of speculation and interpretation over the centuries. According to apocryphal accounts, Azazyel descended to earth with other fallen angels and became involved with human women, teaching them forbidden practices and knowledge of the occult arts. These actions are seen as responsible for the moral and spiritual corruption of humanity, leading to an increase in evil and depravity. Azazyel's association with the corruption of humanity raises profound questions about the nature of evil and the influence of supernatural beings on humans. His story suggests that the fallen angels not only transgressed divine laws when relating to humans, but also had a profound impact on the evolution of human society. The figure of Azazyel as a being who brought forbidden knowledge and occult arts to humans is also reminiscent of other mythological and religious traditions, where supernatural beings are portrayed as the bearers of forbidden wisdom. These stories often reflect the complex relationship between knowledge and power, and how the quest for knowledge can lead to unexpected and dangerous consequences. Azazyel's corruption of humanity also raises questions about the moral responsibility of supernatural beings towards humans. If fallen angels have the power to influence humans so profoundly, do they also have a responsibility to guide and protect humans from evil? This question challenges traditional notions of free will and determinism and raises questions about the nature of evil and redemption. Azazyel's association with the corruption of humanity serves as a powerful reminder of the dangers of temptation and transgressing the boundaries set by God. His story invites us to reflect on the nature of evil and moral responsibility, and to consider the consequences of our own choices and actions. The idea that Azazyel was the recipient of sacrifices and offerings adds an intriguing layer to his figure, suggesting that he was seen not only as a powerful being, but also as an entity capable of granting favors or supernatural powers to those who worshipped him. This belief may reflect a broader understanding of ancient religious practices, where supernatural beings were often invoked through rituals and offerings as a way of obtaining protection, healing, or guidance. The association of Azazyel with sacrifices and offerings can be seen as a manifestation of the belief in divine intercession and the ability of heavenly beings to influence earthly events. For those who believed in this narrative, offering sacrifices to Azazyel could be a way of seeking protection or help in times of need. The practice of offering sacrifices and offerings to Azazyel may also reflect the belief in the need to establish a reciprocal relationship with supernatural beings. In this worldview, humans needed to offer something of value in exchange for divine favors, thus creating a bond of mutual dependence between human beings and celestial beings. The idea that Azazyel was the recipient of sacrifices and offerings can also be seen as a way of giving him responsibility for certain aspects of human life, such as health, prosperity, and security. By offering sacrifices to Azazyel, people hope to guarantee his benevolence and ensure his protection from the evils of the world. The association of Azazyel with sacrifices and offerings reminds us of the complexity of ancient religious beliefs and the way in which human beings sought to understand and interact with the spiritual world. His story invites us to reflect on the different forms of religiosity and to consider how these beliefs have shaped people's worldview throughout history. The symbolism associated with Azazyel is rich in meaning and represents an important part of the narrative of the fallen angels in the Judeo-Christian tradition. He is often portrayed as a symbol of evil and temptation, personifying the spiritual fall and moral corruption. His story serves as a powerful reminder of the dangers of disobedience and rebellion against divine will. As a symbol of evil, Azazyel represents the ability of heavenly beings to stray from the path of righteousness and give into temptation. His fall from divine grace and subsequent punishment are seen as extreme examples of the consequences of disobedience to God. By portraying Azazyel as a symbol of evil, the apocryphal texts emphasize the importance of obedience and faithfulness to God. In addition, Azazyel is seen as a symbol of temptation, representing the corrupting influence that can lead human beings astray from the path of virtue. His story serves as a warning against the dangers of greed, lust and the desire for power, which can lead to spiritual and moral downfall. Azazyel's symbolism can also be interpreted as a representation of human frailty and the constant struggle between good and evil. His story reminds us that we all face temptations and challenges in our lives, and that we must be vigilant against corrupting influences that can lead us astray from the path of righteousness. Interpretations of Azazyel vary widely according to religious traditions and texts. For some, he is seen as a symbol of evil and corruption, a clear example of what happens when heavenly beings stray from the path of righteousness. This interpretation emphasizes the importance of obedience to God and the need to resist evil temptations. On the other hand, some traditions see Azazyel as an example of divine judgment on disobedience. In this view, his punishment and condemnation represent God's justice and his ability to punish those who rebel against him. This interpretation emphasizes God's sovereignty and power over all things, including heavenly beings who deviate from his will. In addition, some more symbolic interpretations see Azazyel as a representation of human duality, portraying the struggle between good and evil that exists within each of us. In this view, Azazyel is not only a supernatural being, but also a symbol of the temptations and challenges we face on our spiritual journey. Another interesting interpretation is that Azazyel represents the complexity of divine nature and the difficulty of fully understanding God's designs. In this view, Azazyel is not simply a villain, but a being whose actions and punishment raise profound questions about divine justice and mercy. The diverse interpretations of Azazyel remind us of the complexity of religious narrative and the multifaceted nature of mythological figures. His story continues to resonate through religious traditions, challenging us to reflect on profound questions of morality, free will and divine justice. The story of Azazyel, the fallen angel, is shrouded in mystery and symbolism, and his figure continues to intrigue and fascinate those who explore the themes of good and evil, rebellion and redemption. His story invites us to reflect on profound questions of human and divine nature and challenges us to consider the consequences of our choices and actions. Azazyel represents not only the figure of evil to be avoided, but also the complexity of the human condition and the constant struggle between good and evil within each of us. His story reminds us of the importance of vigilance against evil temptations and the need to seek righteousness and virtue in our lives. At the same time, Azazyel's story reminds us of God's sovereignty and power over all things, including the heavenly beings who rebel against him. His punishment and condemnation are a powerful reminder of divine justice and the need to obey God's will. Ultimately, Azazyel's story is a reminder that every choice we make has consequences, both for ourselves and for those around us. It challenges us to reflect on our own actions and to seek redemption and reconciliation with God. May Azazyel's story inspire us to always seek the path of righteousness and virtue, even in the face of life's temptations and challenges. I hope you enjoyed exploring the fascinating story of Azazyel, the fallen angel, and found some intriguing information about this mysterious figure. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos, leave your like, comment on what you thought of the topic and share it with your friends. Also, take the opportunity to explore other related videos that are appearing on the screen and expand your knowledge of spiritual and mythological themes even further. Thank you for watching to the end, and I hope to see you soon in other videos.